Okay, to start this video off, I'm just going to quickly go over the food that I'm taking. So imagine all this here times 2. That's what I'm taking exactly. So half of this for breakfast, half of this for brunch, half of this for afternoon tea, all of this for dinner. In between, I've got 2 of these, so I'll have 1 of these per day, half of this bag of chocolate peanuts, 1 of these oat slice bars, and I've got a Snickers to eat on whatever day I feel like. Now you might be saying, why don't just split this up into day lots so you know exactly what you can eat per day. With these big bags here, it's pretty easy to keep everything in half, so I'm not too stressed about it. Now with the food I've got here, everything's cooked. There is no cooking system required. I've purposely opted for that. I really don't like using my precious drinking water to cook with. I'd rather save that for drinking, so that's why I've opted for the pre-cooked brown rice and vegetables, things like tuna for the meat, don't have to cook it. And another thing I'll mention, I've basically aimed for 500 calories per 100 grams. So nearly everything that you see here has a calorie density of 500 calories per 100 grams, which is pretty high. So for the weight, you're getting a lot of energy, which in backpack hunting, that's pretty important. So something to remember if you're looking at doing backpack hunting and you want to save some weight on different things, the food is an area you can save weight on. Just find some foods that are more calorie dense with less weight. So dried fruit and nuts are massive in terms of calories. Jerky's pretty up there. There's quite a few muesli bars that are up there. So these are all sorts of foods that you wouldn't really want to be eating on a daily basis, but when you're walking miles out in the backcountry, good foods to have with you. So I don't want to spend too much time talking about the food, so that'll about wrap it up. If you have any questions on the food or anything like that, you can contact me on Facebook or just comment below. Okay, now onto the sleeping system. To start with, got a Sea to Summit Thermolite fabric reactor. So this is basically a sleeping bag liner. I can't remember exactly how many degrees this will add to your sleeping bag, but I've used it before, actually works pretty well. I'm not sure how much it weighs, but it's pretty damn light, pretty small as you can see. So definitely something worth considering buying to help improve your sleeping bag rating. Next up, Van Gogh Venom 400. This is the sleeping bag. Not sure on the downfill of this, but it's pretty small, it's pretty light, and quite inexpensive compared to a lot of the bigger brands. I've used this on a lot of pack hunts, and in terms of value for money, Van Gogh really does a good job of making some good gear at a reasonable price. It's not the lightest gear out there, it's probably not the warmest, probably not the absolute best, but it still gets you out there and still gives you the opportunity to get out and do it, so at a more reasonable price. So definitely give Van Gogh a look. If you decide you want to spend a bit more money on something better, then by all means do, but don't count out Van Gogh if you're trying to save a few dollars. Onto the tent. Van Gogh Banshee 200. This tent is awesome. For the money, it is brilliant. My partner and I were on a pack hunt the other week and we got rained on something shocking. 0 leaks, hardly any condensation, just an awesome tent to spend a bit of time in. So definitely give some consideration to that tent. Now, this here is the sleeping mat. I know you're all thinking, wow, that's absolutely huge, and it is. This is a double sleeping mat, which I got off eBay for $100. Now, unfortunately, it is a mix of foam and air, so it's very thick. However, my reasoning behind this, and a lot of people will understand where I'm coming from when I say this, and that's when it comes to your sleep while you're out hunting, you really don't mind carrying a bit of extra weight. So this pad is a double. It's massive. It's bigger than the floor of the tent. So it basically means the whole floor of this is covered up with this, making it extremely comfortable. you're not falling off your sleeping mat. If there is for some reason any punctures and I can't repair it with this little kit, this here's still got the foam in it, so you're still going to sleep relatively well. Now this is the downside, is obviously the size of it and the weight. It's 2.3 kilograms for this mat. So if you're thinking of getting this mat, just be aware it is very heavy. But in saying that, since using this, best night's sleep I've ever had pack hunting has been on this mat. And if you're someone that doesn't want to pack hunt alone, you can basically, whoever carries this doesn't carry the tent. So you can get the other person to carry bits of your gear, which on this pack hunt my mate will be doing. He'll be either carrying that or the tent. They're about the same weight. So then that way, you know, you're sort of sharing the load between you, and it doesn't make it so bad to carry this. On a solo hunt, this would be a little bit more annoying to carry. I probably still would though, just purely because the sleep you're going to get on this opposed to some tinsy little narrow sleeping mat, this is going to way outdo it. You're going to sleep better, and a little bit extra weight, I mean, it's not going to hurt you. Okay, moving on. This is what I'm going to call a safety system. First off, emergency shelter, very lightweight. So I've got this in case the tent fails, it leaks, it rips, whatever it may be. So this here, emergency shelter, if it's raining or snowing. First aid kit. So in here I've got bandages, there's water purification tablets, PLB. There's probably one of the most important things you can have in your backpack. So make sure you have a research into them if you do not have one. Very cheap insurance, and I strongly advise everyone to have one. Okay. In this here, this is the Aussie Snake and Spider Bite kit. So basically this has got a snake identification chart, which is pretty handy. Got a few instructions there, triangular bandage, things like that, a couple of compression bandages in a small little lightweight pouch. So if I was ever leaving camp and really didn't want to take the big one, I'd probably get the PLB out of that and take this. But when it comes to safety gear, I don't think you should be worrying too much about the weight of medical kits and things like that, because they could potentially save your life. And then over here, I can put this back on. Then over here, just a cheap head torch. You know, you can spend as much as you want on a head torch. This here I think I paid $30 for, and so far really happy with it. It's actually, you know, I've bought more expensive head torches and they've failed and they've broken, things like that. This one's still going, so I'm going to continue to use it. I don't stress too much about headlamps and torches, mainly because so many things have a torch in them now, like your phone and my portable battery charger, which I'll show you soon, things like that. So I don't stress too much about torches. The fact that I've got all this means I can, if I'm stuck somewhere, I can wait till the next day anyway, where I can see. Ideally, you don't want to be traveling too far at night in the bush, so I don't stress too much about torches. But that's just me, so it's just my thoughts. Okay, clothing. Starting off, this is going to be my outer layer. So this is when things really hit the fan. So if it's snowing, raining, whatnot, the Swazi tar anorak, a little bit heavy, a little bit bulky, but basically I really wouldn't be leaving home on a pack hunt without it, especially an extended pack hunt, because it is so damn waterproof and it's just awesome, absolutely awesome. Okay, moving on. I've got the Tussocks Boulder jacket. So this here is water resistant, wind resistant, really warm jacket for the weight. So I'll be wearing that as another outer layer. Under that, I've got the stone shirt, super lightweight, super breathable. For pants, I'll be wearing the Tussock Schist pant, if I'm saying that right. These can be turned into shorts with the zipper just above the knee. So I'll be wearing them. They're quite thick, quite waterproof. They've got the Cordura dry seat on the back. So that there will be very handy because the forecast for when I'm going isn't looking ideal in terms of weather. It's meant to rain, there's meant to be a bit of snow, so I'll be trying to stay relatively warm and dry. And also in this Cedar Summit dry bag, I've got some merino thermals and merino socks, which will be my base layers. Obviously some spare underwear and spare socks, things like that, all in there. So that's basically it for the clothing. Moving on, water. So on this trip, I will be taking approximately 4.5 litres of water. Now, that should last me easily. However, I just don't think you can take too much water. I don't think that water is something you should skimp on unless you are 100% sure there's water where you're packing into. Water's something I would be taking more than you need. So, I've got the water bladder here. It's a BPA-free water bladder. 2 litres of water in that. I'm not a big fan of these. One, because if you puncture them, you've lost all your water and there's a higher chance of puncturing that than that. And 2, if you have this hose out in the pack like most people do so you can drink on the go, you have no visual of how much water you've drunk or are drinking at the time. So when this is all loaded up in my pack, I will not have this exposed. I do not want to be able to drink water when I want it. I want to take the complete pack off and dig this out. I can see what's in here and then have a drink. So that's up to you if you want to run with it that way or not. But for me, I do not like sipping water as I go without seeing exactly how much I have left, because if I need to ration water and I can't see it, well, you can't do a very good rationing job. So that's just my thoughts on that. Right here I have 1.5 litres of water in a bottle. Bottles are my preferred method to carry water, as I say, because you physically have to get them out of the pack and you can see how full they are. So I think that's very important. I think way too many people overlook that. They just carry this and before you know it, you've run out of water and you don't even realise because you can't see it because it's in your bag and you're sipping on this all day. But anyway, enough on that. Also got some Maximus Blue. So this is a litre of sports drink. That's going to be saved if it gets warm, if I've done a heap of hiking and sweated out a heap of electrolytes, things like that. So I'll be, taking this in to replenish some of those lost minerals and that have come out with my sweat. Also got the Life Straw, so I would be using this in conjunction with the water purification tablets if I needed to drink from a source of water that I didn't think was fresh enough to just drink from. So, when times get tough, sometimes you've got to drink from places you don't want to drink. So this here, combined with this, combined with the tablets. So what I would do personally is if I had anything left in this, I would either empty it into one of these or just drink it, fill this up with the water that I want to treat, put in my tablets, then use the straw in this and drink from that with the straw. So as you can see, I could do it with that there. It's got a big lid which would fit the straw, but that one there's no way. So if you're using a Life Straw, just be aware to make sure you're carrying a water source that you can actually keep some water in but fit the Life Straw in. It's no point having a Life Straw if you've just got to, you find a dirty puddle and you're using a Life Straw, you can't really treat the water with tablets that way, and you can't carry the water with you and drink it with a Life Straw. So something to remember, but that about wraps up the water situation for the hunt. Okay, moving on. I've just got some everyday items, some meat processing, things like that. To start with, dark energy charger. This thing, I can't exactly remember how many phone chargers I get out of it, but it's quite a few. It's also got some paracord on the cable, really handy, really smart. It's also got a built-in flashlight, as you can see there. So like I said before, with torches and things like that, you know, lots of things have little torches in them, so I don't stress too much about it. So that there is the 10,000 milliamp charger. A lot of chargers say that they're, say, 30,000 milliamps, but I've actually got one that's 30,000 milliamps and I get more out of this one that's 10,000. It's lightweight, it's waterproof, really handy bit of gear to have. Moving on, got my Outdoor Edge replaceable razor knife. I would normally be carrying my R&N's custom blade, but for a pack hunt where I'm trying to save a little bit of weight, a small knife like that, really handy. Now, a lot of people won't have seen this. Good mate John Nichols basically showed me these things. I think it's called a carpet cutter. So it is a removable blade on your Stanley knife. Looks something like that. These things here, to make all your initial cuts when caping a stag or even taking meat from a hind or anything like that, absolutely awesome. So for a little bit of lightweight, bit of gear like that, for the ease that you can break down a deer with it to make your initial cuts on the skin, highly recommend. Inexpensive as well. Okay, also have a cheap and nasty saw. That there is the skull cap. Say I bow shot a small stag that I didn't want to cape out properly, or if I face caped a stag and want to, you know, cap it, that there is to do that work. So capping the deer, that's what the saw's for. If I want to break down some of the legs and keep some bones for me, whatever. Okay, moving on. Paladin harness. So this here I'll be wearing at all times. Got the Swarovski SLC 10x42s in there. Garmin Rhino 650. So that's all charged up, ready to go. If you're ever going to do something like that, make sure your GPS is charged, ready to go. In the front pouch here, I have the Sony A6300. That will be my live game photography camera. So silent shutter, 55 to 200mm lens. It's just the kit lens, but it's really lightweight. And these things handle smaller apertures really well. So you can use higher ISOs and not stress too much about that. GoPro 3 Plus is charging, but that'll also go in this pouch as well. In here, I've got the Leopold RX 1200. So this here gets constant use, whether it be rifle hunting, bow hunting, whatever. Awesome rangefinder, absolutely love it. So that there stays on here at all times as well. And then underneath this we've got the Paladin meat bag. So if I'm going to be carrying out any meat will go into here. It's a breathable mesh, super strong, well stitched, well made, it's handmade here in Australia. So that there will be lugging out any of the meat or cape or whatever it may be out of the hunt. So that pretty much wraps all that sort of random gear up. Okay, footwear. Now, I was very tempted to take my Wolverine sightlines purely because I find that they're a bit more waterproof than these. These are the Timberland Mount Madsons, but these are a super lightweight boot, very comfortable. So I'll be taking them. I've freshly saddle soaped them, so hopefully they'll be a bit more waterproof. But they're a very lightweight pair of boots, so that's what I'll be doing my stomping in. Well, I was very tempted to take the rifle on this trip. However, I've got a good mate that's coming and he's bringing his rifle, so I thought it'd be a good opportunity to take my bow. So right here I've got the 80-pound Obsession Fusion 6, and I'm shooting the 250 spine native heat seeker shafts, 2-inch blazers, and 150 grain Oscut 3 blades up front. I've also got a couple in there with 2 blades on them, just in case I want to mix it up a bit, or I want to shoot a 2 blade. But from what I've found, the 2 and 3 blades are shooting to the same point of impact, so there's going to be no stress there. If you're wondering what this is down here, this is actually my phone mount. So it's just a ghetto plastic style clamp, which I've electrical taped and cable tied to the stabilizer, and a bit of Velcro on there, a bit of Velcro on the back of my phone case there. Slots in like that. And with the S7, you can double tap and get your camera up instantly. You don't have to unlock your phone or anything like that and then hit record. So it's just a quick and easy camera mount that I whipped up, which I haven't really used yet. But if I don't have time to set up the tripod and it's a decent animal, I've got options basically. So that's my thoughts behind that. Okay, in here, Loggy Pro case, spare batteries, so I've got a Ziploc bag, spare SD cards, spare batteries for the Canon 70D and the Sony a6300. They'll be the 2 cameras that I'm taking on this trip. A couple lenses, got the 16 and 50 for the a6300, and I also have a 50mm f2 Ricoh lens, which is for Pentax, but I've got a converter on there for the next mount, or the E mount, whatever you want to call it. So that there, shallow depth of field lens, trophy photo lens, whatever it may be, and all my spare batteries. Alright, we're at the final stages of what I'll be taking with me. So right here I've got the Weather Beater dog jacket for Remy. So this here is quite waterproof. It's going to keep her warm if the weather turns nasty. It's not real heavy, but just a good way to keep her comfortable on the trip. So I've got that there for her. And I've got the Osprey Atmos 65 AG. So for day trip hunts, I use my Paladin radar, and that there is absolutely awesome for carrying out meat. This pack not so much. Doesn't handle heavy loads extremely well, but it is super comfortable. So sub 25 kilo loads, this pack here extremely comfortable. And until I get the money where I can get a Kafaru frame and put a Paladin pack on it, this is my backpacking pack. So hopefully in the near future I'll have that Kafaru framed Paladin, and once I get that I'll do a video on that as well. But this pack here, super lightweight, comes in at like 2 kilos bare. That's with this meshy frame here, super comfortable, just disperses all the weight along your back and a lot through your hips. So a lot of storage, and that's basically about it. So a few things that I haven't mentioned in the video are that I'll be taking some dog food obviously for Remy, so I'll be divvying that up into 2 or 3 days. Some dry food for her. Hopefully we get something on the ground early and we can just feed her some meat as well. And other than that, that's about it. Well, that about sums it up for this video. So I hope it answered some questions for some people, and hopefully it helps someone out. That's the ultimate goal behind the video. There's a fair bit of work involved in putting these videos together, and it's not my standard type of video. So if you like it, just let me know, because I will try and do more of these style of videos. But they are time consuming in between. I've got a full-time job and I try and hunt on nearly every one of my days off. So just let me know. And if you ever get the chance to get out onto a pack hunt, I'd strongly recommend it. It's pretty awesome just putting in the footwork and just heading out into no man's land and sleeping there under the stars in your little 2-man tent. So all the best, and I'll catch you later.